Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 294. We're back from all the Thanksgiving, Black Friday escapades, all the goings on there. So we'll talk about some of the stuff with Black Friday and anything we managed to pick up there. But got everyone together. Click is not feeling well actually, so she won't be on tonight. But do you have just about everyone else actually here? Let's see, starting from left to
Nate, yeah.
Nate's right there. I see him. Well, I don't see him, but he's there. He's here. I think. Wait, hold on. We're gonna start with Nate. Nate, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right.
I'm doing pretty good over here. Rhode Island's hot weather.
Just recorded some vocals for a Ramones cover album.
We got Nate. Nate is here. All right, good.
That may be true.
Oh, there
They
it
had
is.
to reach out to me very recently.
Oh gosh. All right, good. So Nate is here. Good to have Nate here. We have Dreamcast guy. How you doing, man?
Hey, full of turkey. Very happy. I just started eating meat, so I had turkey. Turkey sucks. I don't know why y'all hype it up.
What?
What? Turkey's good.
Hold up here.
Whoa.
That shit must have not been cooked.
Yeah,
Season, listen, Max.
No, I had 7 pounds.
You,
Yeah.
boy, but
Yeah,
you
it was
definitely
white people
throw around
turkey.
a lot of white people that don't know how to season the turkey, my man. Hold up.
I'll take that. I'll take that, L. Yeah, it was white
Hold
people
up
turkey.
here. Hold up here.
Did you at least have gravy? You got gravy
No,
all over it?
it went down dry, baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, that's the fucking
made
problem.
a
I don't know what I'm
mistake.
doing. I don't know
No,
what
wait,
I'm
did
doing.
you have
Someone has to send this man a
cranberry
guide.
sauce with it? Did you have stuffing with it? Anything like that?
I had stuffing, which I'd never had before.
See, the
either.
turkey, it's a foundation, it's a base. You build on top of it with other things.
Oh, okay.
Gravy,
To undo
cranberry
the dryness.
sauce, stuffing.
I did.
Bro,
I
there
did.
was al- there was
I did
almost
eat a bunch of
problem at my
potatoes.
Thanksgiving meal.
There was what?
There was almost a problem because,
Uh-oh.
like, first off, Uncle says get there at 1. My grandma says get there at 12:30. I'm like, I'll show up at 12:50. We're supposed to start eating at 1. Get inside. I haven't eaten all day, and my uncle's like, "Oh, Salka's coming from Hartford. He'll be a little while." I'm like, "This motherfucker lives like an hour away. I'm not. Why are we waiting on him? Oh, he's bringing the mashed potatoes. Fine. This motherfucker doesn't show up till 2:30. Okay, I'm starving at this point. I keep going, Grandma, you guys gotta cut some turkey. No, we can't eat till he gets there. So he finally gets there. I'm looking around. I'm like, where's the stuffing? I'm sitting at the table with my cousin's girlfriend. I'm like, Jen. She's like, what? I was like, you find out where the fucking stuffing is, or else I'm leaving. I am leaving if there's no goddamn stuffing. So she found the stuffing, thankfully, and then everything was okay.
That'd be a Thanksgiving Day altercation over there, huh?
Yeah,
All
bro,
right.
if there was no fucking stuffing, I was gonna fucking go to the store and buy some goddamn stovetop and just make it for myself and only me.
That's RGT. Good to have Sean here.
Good to be here. Apologies for last week. I was depressed and I just went to bed early.
Boy, what happened last? The Giants lost, the Knicks lost, and the car.
I lost the car. Yeah,
A lot of stuff that went wrong last week.
it's all right. It's all right. Monday's looking very positive right now, so we'll see how that pans out.
Okay. All right. Good to hear. We have OJ Playersons. How we doing, OJ?
We're good. Great pre-show today, guys. Thanks for everybody, all the Spawncast peeps that showed up, all the viewers that showed up to us. It was a lot of fun. It's good to be here. Had a great Thanksgiving with seasoned, delicious turkey, double brined, roasted turkey that didn't need any gravy, didn't need any cranberry sauce. You could just eat it straight up. It was
Can I let me do Thanksgiving with you next year, all right, OJ? Show me what real turkey is supposed to be. 'cause this-
absolutely, honestly, Max. I if you want to come here, you can.
all right.
My family be like, all right, cool. Everybody here, chill. So
Yeah,
absolutely.
I just said in the corner, like, I'm here for the food and OJ's
I'm like,
beard.
I have a person here from video games that I know that we work together. He's here to eat. My mom would be like, all right.
With my Nintendo Switch in the corner, like, hi, hello. I don't eat the gravy, thank you.
It's all good.
Let's go over here. We have Jordan Fringe. Jordan Fringe is back.
Back. Glad
Talk
to
about
be here.
Pokemon, of course.
Yep.
The Pokemon expert on the podcast here. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on some of the stuff that's been going on with it since you weren't on last week. So a bit to catch up on there. But good to have Jordan back with us.
Good to be here.
We got MVG.
Hello. And I will say the trick to a good turkey is the basting. So what you want to do is for every hour that you cook that thing, you want to take it out of the oven and baste it. And you want to make sure that those juices stay inside the turkey. And that's the key to a good turkey. Make sure you baste it. Otherwise, it's going to come out dry and taste like shoe leather. And it's not going to be good.
MVG knows what he's doing. We've seen those pictures on Twitter, all right, with the grills and yeah. Yep.
Do it every year, man. Do it every year.
turkey's very low calorie. You know, it's not like it's like packed full of like calories and like all that. So you got to make sure that it's seasoned correctly and it's juicy. Otherwise, it doesn't taste very good. You know.
Let me ask
Someone
this,
in the
MVG.
chat. Someone in the chat said, "I'm a master baster." That is accurate. It's accurate.
Let me ask you, Sam. Did you ever try to fry a turkey? You know, where you see those terrible videos
Do it
on
right
YouTube.
next to your
Yeah.
sink so you can get the water if you need it. It's
I did it once,
Uh-huh.
1 year, and I'll never do it again. I didn't set the house on
It didn't
fire or
explode,
anything,
okay.
but I will say there is a high risk element there where you can really mess it up if you put too much oil inside that pan and then you just douse the turkey inside it. If you put too much oil in there, you're going to set that thing on fire. You're gonna basically,
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
I know people that do it and they're really good at it. And if you do it right, it comes out really well. But I would not personally do that. I just
Stick with the oven.
Stick with the oven.
Okay, fair enough. We have Nate. Nate Dates here, of course. We got MVG. We got Evan. Okay, Evan, how we doing?
doing all right.
All right, good. I was going down the list. I was like, I think I have everyone. All right, good. Cool. So we do have some stuff to go over tonight. Of course, we have the Pokemon Scarlet Violet situation, the controversy, the sales, all this stuff. So that'll be fun. Microsoft and Sony have been saying some wild stuff, and I just wanted to touch on some of the points because I get a little weird with this situation now, and there are some concerns that this might go beyond Microsoft's original target of mid next year, and some are even wondering if this deal's just going to get blocked. And then we'll talk about, of course, some of the Black Friday, Cyber Monday coming up, Black Friday sales and stuff that we may have taken advantage of here. Evan, we want to start with a Discord question.
Do you feel compelled to complete games like Pokemon and others faster than others to get the news and tips out first? And does that ruin the games for you sometimes?
That was a tips channel, maybe, but I just kind of go through it and look to get the initial experience for any impressions or discussion on it. And then I just kind of, especially a game like Pokemon, that's going to take a while. Just kind of take my time going through it, you know?
There's YouTubers that are dedicated to stuff like that who, spend the first few days the game is out, not sleeping, getting every single tip to help out people in the early game. So, there is a place for that, and those YouTubers do, the best job they can getting as much information to help people out. So I think that is a pretty cool thing. But no, I mean, if you're not doing that, there's no point. Just enjoy it at your own pace.
Yep.
I mean,
Me too. I just enjoyed it at my own pace.
I beat stuff pretty efficiently and I knock it out, but it never taints my enjoyment. I do feel like, I don't know, I guess I never rush through games. I like to beat them. I like to do side stuff, but I never feel like I have to. Like if I don't beat this, then I can't make a video. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. You have another one, Evan?
Who's your pick to win the World Cup?
Oh,
USA.
Is the
all
whole
right,
world
MVG.
playing?
Who is it, MVG? You're tuned into this tournament.
I think Brazil's probably the favorite right now. They had a really good game the other day. But look, there's some killers. Obviously, France is doing very well right now. Argentina had a good victory today, so they're coming good at the right time. Portugal, Nate's team, won as well. So I think if I had to pick one right now, I'd say Brazil is probably the favorite.
Okay, sounds good. Let's move over. We'll talk about the Black Friday deals. I assume Sean was out there in the trenches 5:30 in the morning Friday.
No, I ought to stab someone.
You say that in your videos that you're just going to start going on a spree in one of these shops if people get too close to you, just stabbing everywhere.
I legitimately would, man. I keep a blade on me. Like
Okay.
I don't like large groups, like tight spaces. Like, bro, if saving $20 on something is like that important, I probably don't need it. I probably should be putting my money into something else.
That's actually a better question. Did anyone actually go out to the physical stores this year?
No.
Hell no.
No. I went by Walmart later on in the day, but I assume that's after all the madness happened. But they didn't. Well, usually they would have like a whole alleyway of stuff. None of that was out there. They had like one little standee in the video game department. There's some PS4, some Switch, and some Xbox games, all this little thing, and that was it with stickers on it. So it was pretty poor selection in store, actually. But I think most. Go ahead, Sean.
I was gonna say, even looking at just like the deals that were gonna be at the stores, like I'm sure we all looked at, like, was there anything where it was like, holy shit, like
Well,
I don't like maybe
Some
Sonic
may have looked at-
Frontiers and Gotham Knights.
Sonic Frontiers is 35, and even
Yeah.
I think even 29 at one place wasn't
Yeah.
bad. Maybe the Xbox Series S at 250 for people doing some Christmas shopping. Maybe, I mean, it's $50 off. You could technically throw that at a game, or how many months of Game Pass, really. But I get what you're saying. We didn't have that PS4 Slim that comes with Spider-Man and then a GameStop $50 gift card. That was a ridiculous deal.
Well, there were so many. If you looked at the actual ads, a lot of those PlayStation games were actually PlayStation 4 games
Yeah.
that were on sale. It's kind of like, I guess we're really not done with you yet.
Well, it also felt like so much of the stuff was online. Like
Yeah.
I ended up buying a TV, a bunch of games for my Steam Deck. I never really have done the Steam sales, and some of those games were like $3 for Darkest Dungeon and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I had no reason to actually go to a store if the deals are just as good, if not almost as good online.
I feel like we're to that point. Like, it's basically a weekend of Cyber Monday now. They might as well like change the name up or something. I don't know, because a lot of online shop. They started their deals a week ago anyway. We were already talking about these deals so long ago. But
Yeah, a lot of these deals actually, if you look, they're gonna go through till December too.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of this stuff. Like I saw, I did get I did everything online. I did get a 512 gigabyte memory card.
oh, that's good pickup. Memory now is good. That's a
yeah,
good one to
for
get.
$40.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Wow, that's right now on Amazon. That's they're already calling it Cyber Monday.
Yep.
As soon as they went for the same deal, they said shop now. They had a little countdown, legit. As soon as it turned over, it said Cyber Monday. It was the same damn thing. What you mean? Trying to rush me? Same thing. Countdown. There is no countdown. Once it was done, it just switched over to Cyber Monday. It's not even Monday.
Yep. That's how they get you. That's how they get you.
I waited. Because that same memory card was like, I think it was like 50 or 40 something. I just waited
crazy.
one day.
You remember back when the Switch first came out, we got word of the 400 gigabyte card and it was like 200 some odd dollars.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're talking about how it's like 40 or 50 bucks or so. It's crazy now. That's funny. I know MVG got some deals. All right. What do we I got some stuff too, but what did you pick up, MVG?
I picked up Horizon Forbidden West for $35. I got Sonic Frontiers for $60, but I was able to get it marked down to the price that it's been reduced to, which was
good.
Which was $40, I think. Or
Did you pull a? Do you know who I am?
Oh, always. That never works, by the way. I also got what's the other thing I got? I picked up Death Stranding, the PS5 director's cut for $10.
Like digitally or physically?
Physically.
Dude,
Yeah.
Where's that deal? I think I want to buy that legit.
Let me see if I got the link for it, Max. I'll send it to you.
Bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw that. I think it might have been Target.
Dude.
Yeah, I think it was Target or GameStop, one of those two.
You end up grabbing Saints Row?
No. What's the best price that's going for? I may pick it up if it's cheap enough.
I feel like that's been 35.
I'm gonna wait.
35.
I'm gonna wait a little bit more. I think it'll hit 25.
Into the 20s, I think too.
Yeah. I definitely want to get and play. I just don't want to pay anything more than $30 for it.
What did I get? I did get the Cowabunga collection on the PS5.
For 20?
It was what was it? I think it was 25 on Amazon. A lot of these are just Amazon pickups. I got that for 25, I think, on Amazon. Yeah, the PS5 hard copy. Got Soul Hackers 2 and Fire Emblem Warriors, because I think Soul Hackers 2 was 28, and then Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes was like 35.
Oh, that's pretty good for Soul Hackers too. 20 something.
Yeah.
I didn't see it for 20 something.
It was on Amazon. It was like 28 something. And then they're like, you have a $5 credit you should use. I don't know where it came from. So really, it was like 24 something with
Not bad.
tax. So
Dude,
I'll
that's
take that.
legit.
Yeah, I'll take that. I was fine there. And then I got, you know what was interesting? Ease Memories of Celceta went on sale for the PS4, and it's the boxed, like it's like the full kit for it and all of this, and it was $40 brand new. So I just randomly came across it. I was like, yeah, I'll pick that one up too. So I just kind of grabbed some, I don't know, some random titles here and there. I already had picked up that red DualSense controller because that was marked down as well. But nothing too crazy. Like Sean, like you mentioned, there wasn't anything that was really pulling me that I didn't already necessarily have in the collection here.
I mean, it was nothing super crazy or anything like that.
Two things I got that I just kept seeing in stock, which I was surprised about. I saw Steam Decks are still crazy in stock, so I finally bought the Steam Deck dock because honestly, I kept seeing Wood beat 'em ups with streaming gameplay of the Steam Deck on the dock, and it was cool. So I finally bought one of those, and I randomly was at a store and I saw a PS5, and I was just so blown away that I bought one for my cousin. So it's weird to see, even in the holiday season, the fact that Xbox Series X and PS5 are finally actually buyable after 2 years.
Yeah. Just, what an amazing thing, right?
Yeah, I mean they were finally able to get some more stock in, which is good.
Yeah,
Which is
for the
really,
holiday
really
season,
good.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
for the holiday, like that's awesome.
What'd you pick up, Jordan? You got anything good?
I didn't pick up anything. for
Real?
Black
Wow.
Friday.
I figured Jordan would have been out there. He'd been on it.
True.
Nothing?
There's nothing that has piqued my interest, or there's no deal that's come by where I'm like, okay, finally. There's nothing that I saw. So
Okay.
no,
Okay.
didn't get anything.
Oh, I did pick up the 8-bit controller.
Oh yeah, the new one, the nice
yeah,
one.
the new one, and I've been using it for Pokemon, and I've been using it a little bit on Bayo, and I like it quite a bit. So I like it so much. I wanted to do like I know I saw your video, John. And it was
Yeah, you should do a
fantastic.
video on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to do a comparison. I was talking about it because like the Nintendo sent me the Power A like Elite
Oh, yeah.
controller. So I mean, I wanted to maybe do a little bit of a comparison between the two because they are both very interesting in terms of like what they do and like what you get for like a premium controller on Switch. So
I like the stand. I like the stand for it. It's kind of
yes,
cool.
the
Kinda
stand
drop
is
it in there.
sexy. Yes, and it looks great with my PC that Evan helped me get. So it's great with that. It's like a charging dock, which is dope. And like when it's done charging, like it, the light, finishes and everything, like little light on the bottom of it. So it's that charging dock is really nice. So I got I got it for $5 less. I mean, it wasn't much of a Black Friday deal, but
It's good because it's a controller with the charging stand, so it's kind of, you have to look at it as almost a bundle, even though
Yeah.
they have it set up. It's nice though. It works on a lot of stuff. That's the Bluetooth one,
and
I
it
assume, is
has
usable on
Rumble.
Switch.
And some of these Pro controllers, these Elite, don't have Rumble.
Right
Believe
now,
it or
yeah.
not. Yeah,
they
some
just
of them
leave
don't have it. So the fact that it has, that's actually a pretty cool thing.
Yep, as gyro as well. The only thing it's really missing is the NFC support, but
Yeah.
you could technically just use your Joy-Con that's already on your Switch anyway. So most
Yeah.
people are like, if I got to scan an amiibo, I'll just walk up to the Switch and touch it. It's fine.
Yeah, that NFC support's not a determining factor in my opinion for anything. Just because like we all have Joy-Cons already that we can just easily just use. So
Yep, cool. Okay, so kind of a quiet year. Nate, did you pick anything up that was good?
No, I didn't buy anything.
Man, wow. Okay.
The death of Black Friday confirmed.
There was a lot of stuff. Some of these places had a lot of stock too, so I'm curious what the sales will be for a lot of. I kind of think they're gonna be a little nervous going into January because I don't know if the holidays are gonna be like that this year.
there wasn't like I didn't see the crazy deals because I was looking at maybe upgrading my my mic, and it was like $50 off. It was like $30 off. I was like, are these like real good deals? Like on like the high quality mics, like the stuff like the high quality cameras. I mean, there was some good deals, but it was like, oh well, the camera's like $3,000. You can get it for like 22. Like 22. So it's like, well, that's already too much. I ain't buying that. So I think that's what I saw a lot of with the deals this year, at least in the space that we're in. Maybe it was different for like toys or other things like that, like kids' toys or maybe for clothing.
Cyber Monday up next. So we'll see what we got there. I guess I don't know. It's gonna be a lot of PC parts, I assume, and storage and all of that. So we'll see. Hey, maybe some video cards go on sale. I can get that 3080 or 3090 for much cheaper than MVG.
PS5 storage is on sale right now. You might want to wait if you've already waited this much, but look out, guys, for the PS5 storage because there should be some pretty good deals on that.
Those 2 terabyte NVMe drives are that would go in your PS5. The 980 Pro from Samsung. Those are now like $170 now for a 2 terabyte. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the 1 terabyte is almost under $100. It's like 110. It's so close. But just get the 2 terabytes and don't even worry about having to open the side of your PS5 again.
I saw one. Is it the Western Digital one that was like 80, but you need the heatsink? You got to still pay a little bit extra to get the heatsink. Is it that one?
Yeah, it's like the Well, there's the SN850 from Western Digital. The Samsung's 980 Pro. I think that one may have had the heatsink, and then there's one without. So you're right. You can technically, like the one I have in my PS5. I just bought the heatsink separately. It was $10, and it was very easy to install. Like just super easy. So it's. If you need it, it's not expensive for that part. That's like the cheapest part to the whole thing.
Is Cyber Monday mostly parts, or can I get something? So I need a new monitor. I'll be honest. Somehow I
Oh,
stuck
monitors
to-
will be on sale.
No,
too.
yeah,
Monitors will
monitors.
be on
It's
sale.
anything is electronic, and then people
Okay,
just,
good.
people
Mhm.
assume like because there's stores online that's also electronic, so you might just get regular stuff too. It
Okay.
just all happens.
I zoomed in this monitor. I had a remote and I pressed zoom by accident once, and then the controller broke, and so I've been stuck slightly zoomed in for like a month, and I'm like, I just have to buy a new monitor.
Should be able to go through a
I'm
menu.
trying to fix it.
Oh,
No, I
geez.
can't. It's one of those weird, stupid monitors. There's no buttons on the outside. I just turned it on, and then whenever I turn on the computer, it turns on the monitor. I can't, and it's only zoomed in 20%, so it cuts off the bottom of the frame. And when I need to move a window, I have to like reach up blindly and grab the thing. But
Oh man,
I'm an idiot.
time to make that move on Monday. Look on Amazon.
Yeah.
There'll be some that are on sale. Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, we'll see. Like I said, we'll see how things go Cyber Monday. Hey, maybe next year will be better. I don't know. We'll be. It's about 3 years into this generation, so I assume some of these PS5 games will be pretty cheap. But Evan, we have a Discord question over there.
If this generation of consoles get mid-gen refreshes like last gen, what is Microsoft going to do with the Series S? Keep it as is, or just make an upgraded Series X?
Oh, you mean for its current positioning? I mean, I assume it'll just stay where it is, because if they do a mid-gen refresh, I don't even know what they would necessarily focus on. I guess ray tracing. I don't know if is anyone asking for 8K? I don't know a lot of people who are like, I need 8K right now. The reason we got those mid-gen refreshes is because they launched their PS4 and Xbox One just before the big 4K rush, and they were like, we're not going to wait this thing out until, well, I mean, we see with the series and the PS5 2020. So I don't really know what they would look for in a mid-gen refresh. So I assume the Series S will be here up until they look to launch, which according to those documents, 2027, 2028. So it's gonna be around for a while. But you have another one, Evan?
What are the chances of Netflix winning the award? They have multiple nominations for it, the Game Awards, which I believe is Best Adaptation, which no one else even deserved to get nominated for. So that's currently with Arcane, Cyberpunk, and Cuphead versus Sonic and Uncharted.
I kind of think Cyberpunk's going to win that, so I guess I would say Netflix will.
I think Sonic might take it. Who knows?
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that would do it too. That'd be a pretty big surprise. Everyone just really likes that side. I mean, it's a good show.
It's a good one. The question is whether or
still
not
haven't
people
watched it.
like Arcane was still really
it's
good
good
as well. So that might be in it though. So we might see at least one of those. And then thoughts on Apple Arcade?
You know, I keep saying I'm going to check this thing out. I still haven't.
I did for Fantasia or whatever, the new game by the dude who created Final Fantasy, did an RPG exclusively for Apple Arcade, and it's really, really good. It feels like a new Final Fantasy, but it's not worth subscribing to Apple Arcade for.
Okay. Let's move over to, we'll go to Pokemon. Jordan, before we talk about the sales and all the randomness that happened there, you can give us some of your thoughts, which we would have got from you last week anyway, on the game so far.
Sure. So listen, there's no way to defend the game. It is a buggy, glitchy, not finished, rushed mess, but at the same time, you can have fun with it. It's still a very addicting gameplay loop. They have finally made the Pokemon game that we had talked about since the first Pokemon game ever came out. Like, this is how you envisioned it. It's just a shame what state it's in. The frame rate it's really not something you could say, oh, it doesn't bother me, because it does. It's baked into the game. That doesn't mean you still can't have fun with the game. It's still a very fun game. I'm not putting it down. The glitches or the frame rate or the crashes have not deterred me from wanting to continue to play it. There's a lot of good new features in the game. I like a lot of the new Pokemon. I like the story. It just runs really bad. And that's the main issue. It just runs bad. And if you've tried playing 4-player online, the frame rate can dip extremely low. I'm talking like 6 frames per second low. It is not good.
I haven't played around with any of the multiplayer yet.
I tested a lot with Woods.
2. Okay, so you can do up to 4. I haven't tried any of it. I mean, people just say you basically play the game just with more people in it completely. I haven't tried any of that yet. Do I still have to trade to evolve my Haunter, by the way, Jordan?
That I don't know. I would
Oh.
assume they probably
I think
keep
you
a
still
lot of
do.
the same stuff. So
Yeah,
probably.
the Machamp. If you want like a Machamp, or if you want like a Haunter, you still have to trade. So like I think you do.
Golem is in
Or
there.
they might have something to where you can do it. Like maybe there's some type of new item or something that you can do in the game. But
Okay. All right. I was just curious. I mean, someone in the chat probably knows. They said yes. All right, good. So I'll go on there and randomly trade it to someone and hope they give it to me back. We'll see.
Yeah, just get with a
We'll
friend.
see.
Just get with a friend
just-
online, or just
We'll roll
send-
the dice.
Go to the.
I'll trade you, man. You don't gotta do all that.
We'll roll the dice. We did get a press release though from Nintendo. Wait, Sean, you still didn't pick the game up.
No.
Okay. MVG didn't get it yet. All right.
I got it and gave
Max
it away
got to buy
already.
another copy.
Yeah, I have to. I bought it. I played 10 hours of Violet, and it was so broken and glitchy. My girlfriend saw it, and she was like, well, I don't want to buy this. So I just gave her my copy. And if she loves it, then I may end up getting guilted into getting Scarlet.
Okay, well, we got a press release from Nintendo, and if they're putting a press release out for sales, it's probably something ridiculous. And it was, with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet selling over 10 million copies
God.
worldwide in 3 days. 3 days. 4.05 million units were sold in Japan. So almost 6 million sold outside of Japan then, which is impressive because it shows how strong Pokemon is just everywhere in the world. But if you remember, Splatoon did really well in Japan. It didn't do as well outside of Japan. Japan was obviously where it's like really big, and that's similar to Pokemon, but Pokemon's just a worldwide phenomenon. And like 10 million in 3 days, that's the fastest selling Nintendo published created game ever. It set the new record. And at this pace, it's probably, honestly, throughout Christmas, probably 20 million by the time they report this quarter. In a couple months, they'll probably be like, yeah, 20 something million already. It's like, okay,
15 to 20 for it, for sure. Yeah.
it's
the
gonna
most broken game ever.
It's gonna be on the move. It's gonna. I mean, think about it. This 3 days, and technically the shopping season for the holidays like just kicked off right after Thanksgiving. That's when people consider, okay, now it's the shopping season for the holidays, and Pokemon's gonna be one of the biggest sellers. You'll have that. You'll have a Call of Duty in there, and probably different sports games and stuff. But it's going to get out of control throughout the holidays. 10 million already sold. And there's a lot of discussion around this for a bunch of different aspects. Is this good for gaming? Is this bad for gaming? Will it get a patch? What's Game Freak doing now? There's so many questions. So I guess we could start with that. 10 million copies, 3 days. I have a quote from Digital Foundry. It's a technical failure.
Yeah.
It's still fun, but there are issues when it comes to the technical side of things. Would this be considered good or bad overall, or somewhere in between, I guess?
It's bad. It's bad.
It's very bad.
You could say yes, 10 million. Game Freak, knocked it out of the park. It's a success for Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, but it's bad because it tells me that they're just going to move on to the next game. And I feel like rock bottom hasn't been hit yet for this company. I feel like the next game, or maybe the one after that, is the one where shit really goes bad. I feel like they dodged a bullet on this one. Honestly, I feel like the patch, whether that is going to happen or not, I couldn't really tell you, because I feel like all Nintendo was really excited to tell us about was the sales numbers. So I hope there is a patch, and I hope they do the right thing. But there's no guarantee that it's going to get patched at all. They just might move on to the next game. So I think it's bad. I don't think it's good at all. I think 10 million people that pre-ordered the game, honestly,
No, it didn't get 10 million pre-orders. Just 10 million sales.
10 million copies. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
I mean, the people that pre-ordered the game, they were blindsided by this, and I think, hopefully this game will get patched. But if it doesn't, I would be very concerned about the next game that comes out, because that could be a disaster.
Tell me what the real incentive is for any of this, unfortunately, because with Nintendo, what owns 30% of Game Freak or of Pokemon?
Yeah,
and why? Like, even though they are offering refunds, you know, that's just a drop in the bucket for how many people are not going to take advantage of that. And what's their incentive to tell Pokemon to, hey, we got to crack down on making these games more quality? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, what is their incentive? Because look how much money they just made. It's a huge success. Things keep going up. They're making a heck of a lot of money. Why would Nintendo care? You know, the most they've done, I was surprised that they're actually doing the refund stuff, but like that's the same effect as the Cyberpunk refund. Like, they still made
like
a lot of money.
fraction of a percent.
Wait a minute. Can't you just refund any Nintendo game?
You can just misreported.
Yeah, you can refund any Nintendo game, right?
You can get any game refunded.
Yes.
So this isn't the case because of the game's state. This is a general policy that Nintendo has for all games. So in May, if people want a refund of Tears of the Kingdom, they will be able to get one. It's not going to be because the game runs at 854p. It's standard policy.
That still backs up what I'm saying then. What is the incentive?
The incentive would be to have a better game. I mean, look, Pokemon Sword
So why would
and Shield,
Nintendo
better
care?
than 10 million in 3 days?
Here's the thing, Pokemon Sword and Shield smashed every single record too when it came out, and that game's state wasn't great, and they patched that game. I'm doing a video on it tomorrow. They patched that game 9 times over the course of a year, and something fixing multiple different bugs, some performance stuff, and that game was smashing every single record that Scarlet and Violet is smashing. Not all of Nintendo's records, but it's the second best selling Pokemon game of all time. So they patched that game from the first big patch came in January. I'm just off the top of my head. January of 2020. So the game came out in November, and then the last patch came out for, I think, in 2021. So if you're going off of past Pokemon games or just the past one on Switch, or even if you want to go like Arceus or they've patched all the other ones. So I mean, I don't see why they patch all the other games, but this one wouldn't get patched.
No, I think they'll patch it. I'm just talking about for like the next games. Like, what's their incentive to not have a glitchy release or tell, hey, we need to have a solid game here before it comes out? So
I see what you're saying.
It's still bad publicity though. Like, this is like, yes, they sold great, and like I'm with you guys. Like, I agree with you. Like, what your assessment? It's fun, but like, you shouldn't release a game in this state. Like, I'm right there with you, but I don't think they want the negative publicity with that. I don't think any company wants that.
But that type of money, how do you care?
Yeah, right.
How do you care?
Like, Cyberpunk sold like a bazillion copies.
Yeah,
and they don't care.
But it hurt.
They got the money.
Cyberpunk is also a good comparison though, because the stock of it tanked so badly. It like dropped them by 70% value. It like made them go like on the Poland Stock Exchange. They got dropped so bad their investors sued them and stuff. I think Cyberpunk is a good example though, because Cyberpunk eventually got fixed. I do feel like this is not going to get fixed. I think we're going to get tiny patches, but I think 99% this is what you're getting. This game is going to stay broken. They're working on the next Pokemon.
Cyberpunk was also pulled from the PlayStation store.
Yeah,
so,
true.
You don't see Nintendo pulling this and being like, "Hey, fix this shit." You know what I'm saying?
Cyberpunk was pulled because they were acting crazy. Because what they said, "Oh, go to Sony for a refund." Sony was like, "That's not our policy." So if they didn't say anything, then it probably would have stayed up. But that's because their mouth got them in trouble more so than anything. I mean, there's broken games that are all over any of these things when it comes down to like eShops or hell, some of the games on there. But
I disagree, OJ. I think Cyberpunk was pulled from PlayStation because it literally crashed every 30 minutes. I mean, it was not playable. It was simply not playable. So it's a situation where Sony had to make a judgment call and say, look, this game doesn't work right now. It doesn't work. Customers are paying $60 and they can't play this game. Like, they can play it for 30 minutes and all it has is just, washed out textures, T-posing, and then it literally crashes with memory leaks, right? I feel like they just made a judgment call and said, this game is a mess and we're going to pull it until it gets better.
That's the one thing I will say about Pokemon. It hasn't crashed on me. Like, it hasn't crashed
twice for me.
Okay,
It's crashed
I haven't
like
had that
15
yet.
times for Wood. Like, it
God.
has, and I didn't believe the crashes until right after he was telling me about them. My game crashed after just
Were you
healing
guys
my
doing?
Pokemon.
Were you guys doing multiplayer?
No, this was just regular
Okay.
playing.
I was saying I haven't played multiplayer yet, so I don't know if that.
I had one crash. Mine did it while I was doing the stupid one of the enemy bases. I was like most of the way through the event, and it just randomly shut itself, and it said, "Oh, error occurred."
Oh, okay.
I think this is a really good example of the whole, like, if people are trying to compare Cyberpunk with this, of, the one worker or student who always does great, like, and is always, known for how great they are, and they mess up once and they get more ridicule, versus the one who just does, average most of the time and has like a really high point and everyone gives credit, or when they hit a low point, no one really cares. And we see that with Cyberpunk, right? Like, oh, this company, they're doing The Witcher, we trust them. Like, they've had some issues, but they do their best. And then Cyberpunk comes out, it's like, we expected so much more. Pokemon is like, well, yeah, the last Pokemon game had issues. Yeah, the last one had issues as well. Oh yeah, that one had issues too. What would you expect?
Are we just at an acceptance because we know it's just going to sell well anyway?
No, we shouldn't be at an acceptance. I think if you're a fan of Pokemon, you shouldn't be defending this. If you're a fan of Pokemon, you should be out there saying, listen, as much fun as you are having with it, call out the issues. That just shows how much of a fan you are, because you want the game to be better. You want the next game to be better. That's what being part of a fandom is. It's being able to still like what you like, but not just being blinded by it. As a Pokemon fan, I can easily say, there's nothing wrong. I love Pokemon. It's great. But that wouldn't be true to me. That wouldn't be fair to anyone else I'm talking to, because this is not a hardware issue. This isn't a single issue. This is an issue across the board with the actual software. It's a problem. The game has issues, and it needs to be fixed. And the next games need to be better.
What's the temperature check over there with the Pokemon community, Jordan? You got an idea?
I think, yeah, there's a lot of people who are saying what I'm saying, right? Like, hey, I'm having fun, but there's issues. And most streamers who I'm seeing play this game are acknowledging that. They're addicted to playing it, and they're streaming it, and they're having a good time, but they're laughing at the glitches. They're pointing them out. They're not just saying, oh, nothing happened there, don't worry. They're not hiding it. They're not pretending. And it's only right to yourself. It's right if you have a platform and you're talking about this game. You can't just overlook the glaring issues. To say that there's no problems with this game, that's not happening in my copy of the game. It's BS. If your game didn't crash, that's fine. Not every game has crashed. But if you're saying, I don't know, it's the frame rate, impossible. It's not it's not a hardware issue. It's a software issue. Everyone
I don't see
has
anybody
the
say
issue.
they don't notice the frame rate. When it comes
I do.
down to it.
I do. I see that.
It's
I've seen that all over Twitter.
It's psycho
Well,
shit.
I mean, I think some people are less sensitive, but it's there no matter what anybody says. It's completely 100% there. That's why we should all be pushing for a patch. Every single video I've made since Pokemon Scarlet and Violet came out, I said, yo, there needs to be a patch. There needs to be a patch. Every single one. So, I mean, yeah, I agree with Jordan on that one, man. Like, you got to be saying, yo, like, you can have fun. Like, I'm having fun. Hell, I play it all the time. But yo, like, especially like docked mode, maybe portable. I've played portable too. Seems like portable's a little bit better, but like docked mode is just like, yo, this is just not great. So I'm really hoping that they do. Like I said, because Pokemon Sword and Shield, I know a lot of people didn't play it after like the first maybe month or two, but they actually got a couple of things to work a lot better, because that game there was issues with that game, and there was a bunch of patches with that game. So I think that, the fact that they sold 10 million, if anything, you can get even way more sales, because like, yes, the people at the beginning are going to rush out there and buy it, but if it stays in this state, there's no way that it's going to continue to sell as great as it is if they don't do some things. Everybody's rushing there because it's the beginning, because it's it's the launch. That's how it is. But if they don't actually fix it up, at least with the glitches, right? At least with the glitches and some of the stuff, the crashing, whatever people are dealing with, some of the random stuff, no matter how it's activated, that's going to affect things later down the line. Not now. Right. But down the line, it's like a lagging
effect on the sales.
Yeah. Sword and Shield kept on selling because they were actually updating things. Like, they updated things. They added the Isle of Armor DLC. People were happy with that. So, and it got multiple patches to fix issues and bugs throughout. Like I said, I think like 7 to 9 times throughout a year and a half or so, something like that, right? So I don't see why with them. I mean, they're not going to leave the whole team back to make the Pokemon game. You don't need character design artists and stuff like that to fix bugs or glitches. You can have people that work on that and then also work on the next game. Hell, they were making Scarlet and Violet and Pokemon Legends Arceus at the same time at one point. So you can leave people back to fix that and still work on the next game. You can continue hiring like they've been doing. So there's all sorts of things that they need to do to fix the game and also get ready for the next game, because the Pokemon company's like, oh hell, when's the next generation, so they need to get that done.
That's the problem. I don't That's the thing that you're mentioning, Jordan, that probably won't change for the next release is their schedule.
No,
It won't.
And dude, there had to have been. I mean, let's be. I know it's assumption, dude. There had to have been some crazy crunch just to get this game out.
Oh,
yeah, in that time period.
I do believe so. And I want to say this: like, if you are a Pokemon fan, you owe it to yourself to call out, and want better. You owe it to yourself. You could still have fun. You owe it to yourself to be out there saying, hey, this needs to be fixed. This next game can't be like this game is. And I think for the next 3 years, if they just build upon what they have for this game, because like the base concept of what this game is, the open world Pokemon, is exactly what we've been waiting for from Pokemon. Sure,
like
it could have a few
Ubisoft
tweaks.
had Pokemon.
Right. It's except you don't have to go to towers and hit a button to see more of the map.
Which is great, by the way.
Which is great. But there needs, like, this is the base. We don't need to restart from scratch. This is the base concept to move on forward to. We have that. Spend the next 3 years and don't go build the side games. Just make all of your spin-off games other companies. Don't go make Legends whatever, Legends 2, whatever different Legends game by yourself. Have another company make it. Just focus on Generation 10 as best as you can. 3 years, because it's going to come in 3 years no matter what. That's every generation now is 3 years.
Well,
so spend these 3 years making the game and not crunching the last 7-8 months after another release to get this game finished.
They're gonna have to. There's gonna be crunch with this game. Like 3 years, I just don't feel is enough time to get the level of quality that you would really, really want to see out of them. But yeah, it's better. Jordan's idea is better than having it how it's been, so I think they would need maybe 4 or 5 if you really want to make that. But, 3 and focusing is good. But, like to get like Xenoblade the way that it was, I mean, and that's not even a competitive multiplayer game. That game took 4 or 5 years to make. And that's no competitive multiplayer.
I think 3 years is fine because, again, keep this as the base, right? We don't need to do any engine swapping. You have so many assets to play with, right? Keep this as the base and build upon that. I think 3 years is plenty of time to actually have a solid game that runs well.
I hope so. I mean, because Xenoblade used the same engine. Xenoblade used it's used the same engine since the Wii U, and it still took them quite a number of time to get that quality. I'm hoping, though, that they can, though. I'm really hoping that 3 years is enough and they can get that. But I still think regardless, like 3 years should be enough to where it doesn't launch in the state that it's in, though, regardless, So I agree with you 100%. They're like, it shouldn't launch with the frame rate issues and the crashing. Like that should be,
At bare minimum, this needs 30 frames per second. Bare minimum.
I wanted to pitch something. I wanted to play off that real quick and then kind of ask a question to the panel. So I've made a bunch of videos about this, and I agree with OJ that I wish we would get a 4-year Pokemon or a 5-year Pokemon. I would like to see what more time in the oven would create. I do think that would not just make it less glitchy. I think it may be the revolution we kind of want. But my question for the panel is, do you think that they're perhaps less stringent on the technical side because this is objectively a kid's game that's sort of marketed towards 9 and 10-year-olds? It's just us 40-year-olds playing it.
No,
they don't care about that. It's just literally I guess I think this thing's going to keep selling. I guess that's my fear personally, is that this is going to keep selling because kids are going to keep asking for it. Like even if it's broken, they're going to keep buying it because they're children.
We haven't heard from Sean at all. Do you want to hit us with that, Sean?
Roast the kids.
What's there to say? What's there to say? I mean, the game is not indicative of a company worth what Game Freak is worth. I don't care about self-imposed deadlines, this, that, and the other. The game is a travesty to have released in this state, but it doesn't matter because it sold 10 million copies and everything's just going to go along as status quo.
The cycle continues.
The cycle continues. Game Freak, what's a good looking game Game Freak has made? Little
Tembo
Town
the Badass
Hero?
Elephant.
Did Game Freak make that?
They did. Yes, I played it.
I know they published it. I didn't realize.
I don't think you're wrong in the sense that there's probably, I mean, just to be out, just talent discrepancy between a Game Freak and
so you hire
Ubisoft
people,
Montreal or something.
You ask Nintendo for help, John. You ask them, why do our games look and run so bad compared to other games on the system? I don't justifying I've seen people on Twitter say, well, Game Freak's not a AAA company, so what do you expect? And people agreed with this mantra, and I'm like, if any company should be a AAA company, it should be Game Freak.
Yeah, cult shit.
They should be making high quality games because of the amount of money that they generate from their games. They're literally some of the best selling video games of all time. You'd expect there to be quality indicative of that. And these games, like I said, it looked like an HD 3DS game, and it arguably runs worse than a lot of 3DS games. So.
I mean, what do you think? The AAA stuff is supposed to be around budget of games. I feel like the budget behind these Pokemon games is actually more than people think looking at them.
Maybe, but it also, to Sean's point, it also, at least perception, right, feels like they're not investing all the money that they've made back into their studios and the tech, right? Like, it seems like things are regressing rather than going forward, and that's concerning. I think if you're a fan of the series,
and as a fan, I think there is no excuses. I 100% agree with Sean here. I think there's no excuses for Game Freak to be this behind for understanding what a console, how to like the excuse early on was cute, right? It's like, oh, hey, we're jumping from the handhelds, we're going to a console, give us some time. Okay, understandable, right? We've had enough time. There is no excuse with the amount of money that the Pokemon as a whole makes to a game to be like this from them, for a AAA game to be in this state. It needs to be better. Hire more people, hire team members that know how to
buy
work.
a fucking company.
You could literally buy several companies.
This is an interesting thing to consider, and I wanted to bring this up because MVG, the next new generation of Pokemon, how many years is that? Jordan, 3 years
from now.
Yep. 3 years from now, we'll be on whatever Nintendo's next hardware is. I mean, that's just 2025, right? Well, I mean, at this point, it'll be November 2025. Expectations, I assume, go up because it's going to be graphically more impressive, just what it's able to do. And we're still kind of in this phase with Game Freak. So if they show up with this, but like smoothed out in 30 frames, I almost think that won't be good enough. Then they'll have to be like, oh, why doesn't it look as good as this new Mario or Zelda game, something like that, or the new Xenoblade that just came out, or Monolith
than a Vita game.
Honestly, like I don't mind the aesthetic of the game. I know people may think that's absurd, but like there's a certain visual quality about the Pokemon game. It's never supposed to be photorealistic or being an impossible port or whatever you call it. There's a certain style about the game, and I think the style is fine. But where it breaks down is because it is, I don't want to say low polygon, but it's kind of pushing almost that low poly aesthetic, right? Yeah. And it's like, well, why is the game running like absolute dog shit? That's the real question.
The frame rate, map's loading in all at once.
The frame rate doesn't match up with the performance. Like the frame rate doesn't match up with the visuals. What you're saying? Yeah,
exactly. And even with the memory leaks and the issues where assets are loading in and you can actually visibly see the stuttering. Like even in situations where that's not happening, does the game ever hit 30 FPS ever?
No.
I mean,
it does. Yeah. In indoor battles, I've actually tested it on my own stuff. So whenever you're doing like indoor stuff, absolutely super smooth, but that's very rare.
Yeah. I'd say that's very.
It's like there's a maybe.
It's like there's a
in the arenas when you're
closed off spaces. But the regular gameplay, like when you're out in the world, barely ever that I can feel.
It's almost like there's like a programmer trick that like every programmer knows for the past like 10 years, and they still haven't heard it at their own company, and they're just like, I wonder how other games do that. Like it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the underlying issue is with performance, but it's definitely concerning. And yes, like Sean and Jordan said, 10 million is an absolute monumental accolade.
It's absurd, right?
Yeah, and a record to break. But I do wonder if they're just going to be blinded by the sales numbers on this and only do the bare minimum to get this game updated. I hope they don't. Like, I really hope they actually fix this game. And if we look at Sword and Shield, 9 patches, hopefully we'll get a similar roadmap of updates, and I think we will. But it's just a sad state of affairs because I really want to see this franchise get better. And this one we won't. I don't think.
The part that's a real shame about this is the game itself. If they didn't have all these weird, if it was just an average performing game that we go, oh, this is, it's Pokemon, it's Game Freak, whatever. But it wasn't detrimental to the overall experience. This would actually be a really fun conversation for a Pokemon game. And the thing though, Nate brought this up the other day about one thing they could do kind of to resolve it, and it is legitimately just throwing money at the problem. Nate, you remember what that was?
No, I don't. When did I say it?
You said they should buy. They should buy something. Game Freak, the Pokemon company.
Drugs?
No.
Cocaine, methamphetamine.
We were talking about their engine and the way that
Unreal?
they did all the technical stuff, and you said they should bring in a studio or buy a studio that specializes in just overall game engine development, and Game Freak themselves, who are obviously doing work on this, but also spreading themselves very thin with multiple titles and designing and developing another 100 some odd Pokemon every generation, not necessarily have to spend time doing that as well.
Yeah, they should just do what we see a lot of other companies do, and they do this to a certain extent. They just don't do it far enough. Is that they clearly do not have the technical chops to design the worlds themselves anymore. They need to bring on a full studio to design the world to their specifications. They need that developer to essentially just build all the environments for them, build the technology, and then Game Freak can design the in-game systems and the core gameplay.
That is kind of a Discord question. Yeah, how would you feel about them adding that extra company and they just focus on like world building, characters, Pokemon?
It's the best solution for them because they're clearly at their technological limits right now. If this is the best they can do within the schedule that they themselves assign upon of we're going to turn out a new generation in 3 years, this is self-imposed. This is not coming from above. This isn't a Pokemon company rule. This isn't a Nintendo rule. This is Game Freak wanting to put out a Pokemon game every single year, be it DLC, a Legends, a remake. This is their decision.
They had every incentive to release this game, right?
Their only incentive is they want to make money.
The other games are different, but for a Pokemon game, mainline Pokemon game every 3 years, that's not a Game Freak decision. That is Pokemon mandate for when the new generation starts, because that trickles down to the card game being ready, the anime being ready. No matter, and I saw people in the chat saying, why can't Game Freak just delay it? They can't. That's the one game that has to come out on time every 3 years. The other games you can kind of play around with.
That's what I was thinking about,
mainline games,
Jordan, because there's the anime and there's the cards and all that all syncs up together. So if one of them is missing, that's going to be an issue. So I definitely think that's part of it, is the Pokemon company saying, hey, we have this merch, everything ready, and you got to have this ready by this point. Because if you delay it, they like to launch in November, right? They don't like to launch with the new generation outside of that. They're stuck in their ways of, hey, we got to have our game, kids, buy it Black Friday, holiday, Christmas tree, whatever the case is, right? So they're stuck on that. So if you delay the game, it's not just going to get delayed for like a month or two. It's going to get delayed till the following year.
Yeah, and they have no wiggle room.
Depends on the certain thing within Game Freak. Right now, there's already work done on the next generation. They already have blueprints, concepts done for the next generation. Game Freak themselves has set themselves a year. Now, Game Freak is 1/3 of the Pokemon company. If they said, we want to have the next generation out in 2026, the merchandise can then shift to 2026. I'm not talking
don't have
to
the
delay
say.
the year of. This is all planned out years in advance. They can make pivots. They want the things out in 3 years. This is their problem. They've created this monster, and they can no longer contain it.
Yeah, but it's like you said, it's 1/3. They do not. Game Freak does not have the final say on mainline games if they need to push it back or not. When that agreement comes, it's been a 3-year consistency for several generations now. I would say it'd be nice if there's an agreement where, okay, let's do 4 years now, right?
So
let's make a little bit longer of a
think
gap.
Jordan, you don't even think this is enough for them to pause? I mean, Ubisoft did it with Assassin's Creed. After they ran Assassin's Creed into the ground every single year, they said, we're going to pause. And then they came back with Odyssey, and Odyssey was awesome.
Right, but they still were doing 2 or 3 years. There's just too much going on with Pokemon, and the other sides of the other branches are already in production of other things, and they need to all be caught up. Like, they can't even have wiggle room to delay the game a month. Okay, we need another month to finish this game. It'll come out in December instead. They can't even do that because of the worldwide release. When these games come out in Japan, they're getting the new stuff usually either in December or January, while we're getting the cards and the anime. The anime will come sometime next year, but the brand new cards are going to be coming right away, February and March, for the next generation. So there's barely any wiggle room for other territories besides the US to move this game. And it's only Game Freak cannot. There has to be some unified agreement from every branch of Pokemon to not have a 3-year gap, and that's going to be very hard.
So even this is not going to be. You're saying that even this is not enough for them to.
When you sell this many copies, I don't know if that makes the other branches go, all right, yeah, let's delay.
Well, I think whatever comes next is just going to be as bad or worse than what we're seeing.
That's why I think. That's why I think the agreement.
Like
the agreement needs to be Game Freak.
More records.
I don't think they've hit rock bottom yet because they're just grinding.
Game Freak. There needs to be an agreement. Game Freak only works on the next Pokemon game for the next 3 years, and see what happens. That's it. They don't. If they're making a spin-off, if they want another type of game like a Pokemon Snap or a Mystery Dungeon or another Arceus or Legends type game, someone else has to be involved. Another company. If they're going to remake the Black and White games, cool. Bring another company in like you did for the last one. But other companies need to be involved to help those games.
Maybe Game Freak doesn't want to hire another company to do it.
They don't,
right?
because they're fucking greedy.
There is so much money. Pokemon has so much money. There is no excuse anymore. If there needs to be help to get these things out, because you look at all the spin-off games, they look beautiful for the most part.
Yep.
They run well for the most part. You know? Why is it the mainline Pokemon games where Game Freak should have all their attention if they want to be the ones who are solely working on it and maybe have some little external help, either get more help or only focus on that. Those are their only two options.
Yeah, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl was made by a completely different company. So I don't think they're opposed to bringing in somebody else to work on a mainline Pokemon game. But yeah, definitely that would definitely be something. But I think time is got to be the essence here when it comes down to how much time they get. But also what you were saying with building upon, like, I think, not to bring Sonic in this, Jordan, because I know you're not a Sonic fan, but they said that Sonic Frontiers is the cornerstone for Sonic. One of the biggest problems with Sonic is that they would scrap everything, then restart. Pretty much every game was some type of new thing. But now they're going to build upon. So the next Sonic Frontiers game is going to be better than this Sonic game, because they're going to build on top of it instead of just saying, hey, it's Sonic and the Secret Rings. Oh, now it's Sonic Forces. Now it's just something completely different. They're going to take this game, I think, and they're going to build upon it. So that should definitely, hopefully, make a better game. And also, if they can get some extra help, apparently they're hiring for next gen development or something like that. So that would be great if they can get that done.
So they can't delay Pokemon because they're already shipping the cards out and all this.
Everything's already in production. Okay. The full company, every division would need to be in agreement.
That might explain what happened with Cyberpunk.
From everything I know about inside the company, from all these different departments, a lot of them don't have the best communications with each other all the time. So for all them to unify on one singular decision like that would be a feat that is almost unbelievable. I hope it happens. I wish that would happen. In this case, hey, maybe we delay Gen 9. Maybe we just, wait a little bit. Wait another year. Wait half a year. Whatever it takes for the company to get where they need to be on all branches of their stuff. And it sucks that Pokemon, of all the companies out there, of any IP, is the one delivering one of the most disappointing in terms of how the game runs releases and glitches.
Well, that's the last thing I want to say is I saw someone on Twitter say this, and I've been repeating it in videos because it's so brilliant. It said, Pokemon does not have generational cycles. They have marketing cycles. It's like every 3 years, there's this already built marketing rollout of like, all right, new dolls, now new toys, now new shoes, now new cards, now new anime, now new set of games, and like keep doing it. And so they're afraid of the marketing cycle getting broken, which is so weird to think about. Like, it's not even about the games to them. It's just about like, all right, do we keep it?
We all recognize that this Pokemon game sold twice as much as God of War in 3 days, right?
Yes,
and half realize this now looking at this.
They sold, what is it, 5.1 million in 10 days. This sold 10 million in 3 days. It just, and additionally, that was the fastest selling first party PlayStation game of all time. And additionally, from some of the other metrics, that was the most hyped PlayStation game of all time.
Yep.
Is that a fair comparison?
There you go.
I mean, I don't think so, but man, it's hard not to put those numbers next to each other. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, they're both
fair, though. Not fair to compare God of. That's not fair to compare God of. God of War don't got.
Are you saying Pikachu would kill Kratos? Why would you say that, OJ?
God of
God of War don't got an anime. It don't got cards. It don't got all that stuff.
God of
I
War
wish it did.
Good.
God of War has like,
True,
like comic books and all that stuff,
No,
right?
God of War is
God of War is good.
God of War is incredible, and absolutely. But we've seen over the years that the best rated games don't always sell the best. Okami is one of the greatest games I've ever played. That game sold terrible on the PS2 when it came out with a massive install base. So the best games don't always sell really good. The fact that God of War as a core game, that what it is, sold 5 million, the fastest release for PlayStation, it's good for that. You start comparing yourself to everybody else, you're going to be upset very quickly in the game industry. Call of Duty sells a bazillion copies, rated like 78. There's a bunch of other games better than Call of Duty. So, I mean, comparing yourself to every other game is not a good idea, in my opinion, because games sell at different rates. Imagine if we all compared ourselves to each other when it comes to various different things. You'd be very upset with yourself in many different aspects. So I just feel that we shouldn't be comparing God of War, that type of game. Yeah, Pokemon did better, but Pokemon it's completely different. I don't think that's fair. God of War did incredible. The sales were amazing. 5 million in 1 week. We're not gonna diminish it because Pokemon came out and did better than it. No. God of War did.
You know, there's some boardroom somewhere where they just walk up and put that number up, and they're like, "Look at this. Look at it."
They circled it dramatically like 5 times.
The people that should be happy, PlayStation fans should be happy. That's incredible sales numbers for that style of game. Remember, the action genre like that is not the biggest seller in the industry. Games like Devil May Cry don't do that. Bayonetta does not do that. These type of games don't do those numbers. So you also got to keep that in mind, you know?
Well, there you have it. If you need to put your game out, create a card game and just release it. Then you got the best excuse. I mean, Cyberpunk had to come out. They shipped those shares.
No, see, that game didn't have to come out. They delayed that game how many times?
You're right, Jordan. It didn't have to come out, but they had investors and they promised investors it was coming, and that's that. So as far as I know, Pokemon Company is
it's private.
Yeah.
Who they answering to?
I mean, they
Themselves.
probably have their
Not
own
even
share.
Nintendo.
They probably have internal shareholders, right? That own percentages of the company, but they're not a public traded company.
What happens? Nintendo comes up to them because they own 30% and says, "Hey, we got to do better." Okay, hey, we don't need you. Take your 30% and leave. We'll go wherever we want. They're Pokemon.
What does Nintendo care? They just made a fuck ton of money.
They did just make a lot of money.
Wait,
Yeah.
is that
if they-
possible? Can Pokemon Company like buy out Nintendo shares and leave? Is that I've never even
Nintendo
heard
would have
that.
to agree, but I don't think Nintendo is
Yeah.
going to agree.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo handles the publishing. They have the publishing pipeline for the game. So they handle all of that, and they would have to go find another publisher somewhere. I don't even think.
I mean, everybody
Really
would
want
line
Game
up,
Freak
right?
publishing this thing.
I have no idea. I've never even considered it.
Gosh, it's we'll see. I think there'll be a bunch of patches though. January, we'll look towards that. If there's no patch in January, it might start.
Yeah, if there's no patches January, then there's definitely there's an issue. I hope a hotfix comes out even sooner than that, maybe December or so. Sword and Shield wasn't as dire, when it comes down to it. It wasn't as dire, and they patched the hell out of that game. When I was looking through the whole notes, got a big video on it tomorrow if you guys want to watch. But like this needs to be whatever schedule they had. They need to push it up faster for crashes
the hot
first.
fix would have to do crashes. Yeah, all the stuff you're talking about, Jordan. They have to get that out right away.
And then big patch, maybe January. But if there isn't there to at least smooth some things out, then things are going to get a little bit dicey.
Before
But
Christmas.
I don't see why.
Before there's another influx of players.
For Christmas.
on
Oh, good
Christmas,
point.
Yes.
They
before
absolutely
Christmas.
need to have a few hot fixes in there. No excuse.
Ain't doing a goddamn thing.
I agree. I don't think there's going to be
They're busy
anything before
counting.
next year.
Yeah.
Bugs,
Think
maybe.
about-
I'll give you some bugs. They'll probably try to iron out some bugs, but as far as performance is concerned, they ain't doing diddly poo.
True.
You don't think that's going to end up running better by this time next year, Sean?
I honestly don't think
Oh
so.
man, they're gonna have the DLC probably coming out for it too. You figure they want to run somewhat better.
Well, then they'll have another Pokemon game, Pokemon Go up your ass too, and
Oh, all
you
right.
put the Pokeball up there, and
Okay.
it's very deep
And
game.
then you'll buy that game then, right, Sean? You'll definitely get that game then.
That's a very inappropriate, OJ. Gee.
You
Pokemon
suggested
anal
it, my
beads.
boy. Ain't nobody else suggested but you.
All right. Well,
I was like, I'm playing co-op with Pokemon up your ass. Don't worry, guys.
we'll see. We'll see what they have for us. Like I said, hopefully before the end of the year and Christmas and all this. Evan, we have any Discord questions?
Oh, that was the last one earlier.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Very good.
Yeah,
very
sorry
good.
we spent an hour on Pokemon. My bad, everyone.
That
I mean,
was
not a
all
lot
of
of.
it.
This was a holiday week. It's not like anything major happened.
Jordan, hour well spent, man. I have topics in my stream, and it just ends up being Pokemon the whole damn stream.
We ain't talking about no goddamn Pokemon on the after show. So unless you pay, if you pay, we'll talk Pokemon.
Now they're gonna pay. You know that, right?
Hey,
Master plan.
if there's money.
40 chess.
You want to quickly touch on the comments from Sakurai in his video about it seemed like he's alluding to Kid Icarus Uprising getting some kind of port remaster treatment. It was one of those. I mean, it felt kind of like the Nate tease randomly on his podcast where he pretends like it's not happening and it actually is. So Kid Icarus Uprising, that coming to the we think that's coming to the Switch, because I kind of think it is now, like the way he was talking about it. I think it makes a lot of sense.
I think it will. We heard about Bandai Namco. They're working on a remaster. You know, that could be it. A 3D remaster of a classic game. I guess you can say it's classic at this point. Came out, what, 2011 for that game, or 2012?
Yep.
For that game. So, and it's a classic franchise. I mean, that game's only had, Kid Icarus has only had 3 games, I think. Yeah,
NES, Game Boy, and then
Game Boy, and then Uprising. It's been like 30.
The characters from that
gosh.
series are known more for their Smash appearances than anything else.
Absolutely.
So you guys think under NDA Sakurai would have leaked?
That's
Kid
the
Icarus?
interesting part, isn't it?
I don't believe that at all. I don't think it exists. I don't think it exists.
That's the interesting part, that he would do that on his YouTube channel.
He just said it was nice. Is that NDA? He doesn't. He doesn't answer to Nintendo. Yeah. He doesn't work for Nintendo. He doesn't work for them, and he might not even be involved in this whole situation, this whole thing. Honestly,
no. If this comment, if it is him teasing a game, then it was sanctioned by Nintendo to allow him to do this. This isn't him going on his YouTube channel to see if there's interest in such a project. If the project exists, his comments were approved by Nintendo to be made. And I mean, that's really all.
That's some 40 chess there, just to get people maybe thinking about it a bit there. People watch his channel.
But I feel like people have been thinking about that for a while, because that was a really good game that had a horrible control scheme that would literally
stand with it. Gotta stand.
It literally would cripple your hand. But I mean, the online was super fun in that game too. Like all the different power ups you could get and stuff. I loved playing that.
I feel like that game looked really good for the 3DS.
It looked better than Pokemon did. That's for damn sure. No, it did. It was a sharp looking game.
Okay. All right. I thought I was remembering right. I'm like, that game almost looked like they were even making it for something other than 3DS. And they were like, let's fit it on the 3DS now. Because it did look visually impressive. Remember the first time they showed it at an E3? I almost thought it was a Wii game there for a minute when they were showing some of the cutscenes and stuff. But that's one that would definitely benefit from the additional controls of the Switch, along with that probably 1080 60, probably smooth it out, look really nice overall.
Let's calm down. Let's calm down over there, buddy.
700p and you'll like it.
I'm hopeful for it. I would like to see it sold over 1 million copies on the 3DS, so it's not like it didn't sell anything. So I think it could get the Switch effect and actually probably did pretty well on the Switch. So
do it, Sakurai, or do it, Nintendo.
I mean,
get it done.
If Sakurai shows up after all this stuff he's done, Smash, and he's like, "Hey, can we port Kid Icarus? Can we greenlight that thing?" Would Nintendo really go, "No"?
We need to have it. Kid Icarus needs another chance after the situation that happened on the 3.
I feel like Nintendo would be like, "Yeah, whatever. All right, call up Bandai. Let's make it happen." That's who he'd work with. He'd probably work with Bandai. So
I've never seen so many people online say they want something. When it comes time to buy it, they literally nowhere inside.
I can think of one.
I'll pick up a copy.
Everyone's like, "Yeah, bring back Kid Icarus at E3."
I have to make a Metroid Dread joke there. I could feel it. On the tip of your tongue.
I wish it sold as much as Metroid Dread. Hell.
Oh yeah. They've sold Metroid Dread numbers.
We probably have another Kid Icarus by now.
There'd be a new Kid Icarus by now. Yeah.
I wish it did. Dude, it took Kid Icarus 10 years to sell 1 million.
You know, Nate, I like that.
Damn it! People are. How is this benefiting you?
What? Oh, the
Keep
Pokemon
getting
Talk.
donations for Pokemon Talk. My stream, the after show. God
The
damn
after
it.
show. You got to go see Sean in the after show and bug him, make him yell in his mic about Pokemon. I actually like the idea of Nintendo interacting a bit there in the background, Nate, like you're suggesting with Sakurai to hint at that.
It's the only way the comment makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if he's just out there going rogue and saying it, and this project is in fact in development, then Nintendo's not going to take too kindly to that comment.
What are they going to say to him?
Right.
It's Sakurai. He's gonna show up and
If you
yeah.
have not-
Guess
if you
what
have
I'm doing
knowledge-
next week.
If he has knowledge of the project, he'd be under NDA.
I mean, you say
Even
that
if he's
John
not directly involved with it, he has knowledge due to its development situation. So he would be under an NDA there. So the only way his comment came out is that it's Nintendo saying, put it out there. Let's just get some talk around this project behind the scenes, if in fact it is in development. Now, if there's nothing in development, it's just an innocent comment. That means the equivalent of nothing.
Yeah.
More than likely the former, that the game is in development and Nintendo is just putting out a little bit of a tease to get people going, because we know Nintendo teases games in games all the time.
Yep.
And that's all this is. It's a little more social.
I think about the stuff he sat on for the Smash characters like Sora. Like, you think he wouldn't be able to hold back about Kid Icarus? Nah, that's how. I like that idea though. They kind of throw it out there as like a little YouTube Sakurai channel Easter egg just to get people talking about it.
He's been talking about Kid Icarus a lot. His last couple of videos,
He's used a lot of clips. This last one was all about the difficulty system from
the one before that. He's talked about it as well. Like he's discussed it quite a bit. I know he really loves Kid Icarus though. Like that's like one of his favorite, things that he worked outside. Obviously Smash, but like Kid Icarus was a game that he like really like put a lot of time and effort into to make the type of game, working on a franchise that he likes, because he likes the Kid Icarus games. Like he liked it beforehand. So yeah, I hope it happens, man, because we need another chance. We need another chance to support your boy Pitt. Pitt outside of Smash Brothers.
I've never played Uprising, and I always hear about it, so I'd play it.
Very good. Well, don't you have a hack 3DS?
What? How dare you say true things to my face? Yes.
My brother in Christ just download the shit.
I think.
Play it.
Yeah, look, I've heard, and you guys can tell me the truth about this. I heard the controls are really freaking weird on the 3DS.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not paying for it. Okay.
They're really weird. So there's a couple ways that you can play it. You can play it with the stylus, and then you can move the camera that way, then use the D-pad for attacks and like the L button or whatever.
That's what I did.
Or you can use it like me, because my hands are too big, and I just use the face buttons to control the camera, and then use the shoulder buttons or whatever for attacks, and the analog stick for the movement. I think that way's better. It has a hone-in system, so it's not like you're going to be like flailing around and not being able to hit people, because like you can like lock in and stuff. So
okay.
But like the flying parts, the stylus is great for that. The stylus is actually really good for the flying parts. It does come with the stand though. That's the funniest thing. John always talks about the stand. I don't know where mine's at, but it comes with this little stand if you want to put your Nintendo 3DS on it and then play it that way for at the time they said comfort.
Yeah.
And the reason why they never supported the Circle Pad Pro, because there was a dual analog, thing for the regular Nintendo 3DS, and then later it said that the game uses up all the system resources, so they couldn't do Circle
What?
Pad
That's hilarious.
Pro. Is that true, MVG? Is that a true thing?
Probably. I mean, if that's what they're saying,
that's what he said.
Well, someone in the chat named Rhyme said that if you have a modded 3DS, you can actually download a Circle Pad mod for it.
Nice.
What? Okay, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, do that.
Okay.
If you happen to have
a hacked 3DS.
Yeah. But Nintendo ain't selling 3DS games anymore.
I got one there right there. Yeah.
Allegedly.
It's very easy to hack a 3DS.
Allegedly.
Let me go over some of the super chats here. Mark says Iwata single-handedly fixed Earthbound when the devs were having problems with it. I imagine he'd actually do something about Pokemon having performance issues. There was a new
Bust out the Ouija board.
There was a new
Oh my
post.
god.
There was a new post that went up on Reddit, and someone actually dove into some of the stuff that was done with gold and silver, and they figured out that it wasn't necessarily the compression that was done by Iwata for it that made it work for its size, but actually for the speed of calling the sprites for the Pokemon. This is like 2 days ago. Someone looked into it and wrote this entire novel on Reddit and figured it out. It's kind of interesting. You want to look into that, MG. It was kind of a cool thing that someone discovered just recently as to some of the accomplishments there done.
Iwata was a legendary programmer before he was president. He's awesome.
Michael says,
Awesome,
why did my duck Pokemon turn into a dancing chicken?
I know. That was I got Quackity as well.
His name Quackers?
That Pokemon.
Quacks. You could
I love
you
the
could give him a
dancing.
nickname.
Quacky Chan.
Kovala?
I got the fire crocodile thing.
Quaquaval?
So I have the Quackable. Oh,
I like how they
Pokeball.
how they put Foy Coco on
Yep.
4 legs, right? But they couldn't keep Sprigatito on 4 legs. They just
Yeah.
can never do that. But
It's ridiculous.
I don't know. I think I'm like lukewarm across the
When
board
Fuego evolves once,
on them.
it gets a hat, and then it evolves again. It turns into a fire skeleton crocodile. It's like, wow, that was
Yeah, it
quite
had
the
biggest-
transformation there.
Evolution, baby.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I've seen the speedrunning community saying that Foy Coco is too powerful. Like half of the gyms are weak to fire, so you could just literally beat the whole game in a couple hours with just that one Pokemon or something crazy.
Yeah, the Nuzlocke community is like
That's what it is,
like the most
Nuzlocke.
broken Nuzlocke character ever. So yeah,
It does seem pretty
that's
strong. I will say that it is messing some stuff up. This is from Patrick says it's December 2023 and they announced more DLC for Mario Kart 8. How are you feeling?
No,
Just excited. That's all.
no, that's
I mean,
not happening. Not
My
happening.
my girlfriend loves Mario Kart. We play together, so I mean, I don't hate these new maps, but man, I wish we'd get a new Mario Kart.
Yeah, I think we're all ready for a new Mario Kart.
I am ready. I'm done with Mario Kart 8.
Whatever the next one is, it's gonna have to have some pretty high expectations. I
No,
think, for it.
no, it does. It doesn't got to even be as good as Mario Kart. It just needs to be something different.
That's a good point. Yeah, I was gonna sell
Okay.
crazy numbers.
I don't care at this point. I just want a different game.
Dark Type says, tried out a lot of the first party games and continue exploring Game Pass. What are your favorite co-op and single player games to play on Xbox? Much love. Keep up the great work. I mean, for me, it's Halo and
Gears, baby.
Gears is good. The Sea of Thieves is still huge, but I just never got into Sea of Thieves.
I have two.
I don't know.
I have two. Check out Plague Tale Requiem. Excellent.
You beat it
Excellent
yet?
game.
Oh,
No, I
okay,
haven't.
okay.
I haven't, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And the game that I wrote off last week, I'm starting to enjoy. And that is
Just
Pentiment.
stop right there.
Pentiment.
Let them continue and everyone else silent.
I played 2.5 hours. When I was on holiday, I took my laptop and I could connect to xCloud, and Pentiment on xCloud is probably the best way to play that game, honestly, because it's very, very slow. But I got into the story and I'm enjoying the game. I think I think Nate was right, and I will take the L. I think it's a good game.
Okay.
I have an amazing joke, but it's definitely an after show joke.
Okay, there you go. Put a pin in that one. Avedon Smith says, "What's up, Spawncast?" Shout out to Avedon. Link says, "Hey guys, I recently got back into buying physical media, so gaming, but also 4K Blu-ray movies, and I love it. Just wondering, do y'all still buy 4K movies? I don't know, Jordan. You still buy 4K movies?
Yeah, something like that.
After show.
Oh, wait a minute. You didn't get
Gracious.
any. You didn't get any on Black
Yeah.
Friday?
Well, here's the thing. So the deals for that kind of stuff, it's either on the recent few months of new releases, which I probably already picked up on release day, or it's a bunch of the same stuff that's always been on sale for the past decade for physical media for movies, and I already have it. So there's very rarely a deal that I have to jump on for that. So,
Okay.
but yes, I have that's my biggest collection of anything is physical movies.
Ryland says, been loving your channel, Spawnwave, very much. Are opinionated on one console or another. FYI, I'm a Nintendo fan. There, I said it. Are opinionated on one console or another. I have opinions about all consoles now. Pyro says, this is the best time to buy LG C1 before they're gone. Yeah, there was one point where someone had it up for 50% off a C1. It's like
Really?
$1,000 for a 65-inch C1, which is insane.
It's a great deal. Where's
Yes.
that at?
I think it was either Target or Best Buy. I saw some people tweeting about it, and they went fast. They were gone like almost
bet.
immediately. I mean, that's a good pickup. The C1, awesome TV. I know they did like a C2, and they're doing. It's a very good TV for gaming. Yeah.
Honestly, these OLEDs, these LGs, man, you can pick up any of the CX, C1, all, and they're all good for a while, man. They got great technology built into them.
That's what I grabbed. I grabbed an OLED 58-inch.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. Jonathan says, any of you ever enter any video game tournaments?
Yes.
Lots.
Yes, I used to play Smash tournaments quite a bit.
Kept
So I
getting
started
annihilated
getting-
by that one kid, right?
Yeah. I used to go to my locals, and there used to be like this 14-year-old that was just really good, and he would beat my ass. And it was worse because we would both do Sheik. So I was a Sheik main in Smash 4, and we would both play as Sheik. So I'd get to like top 8, and then all of a sudden we'd always match up, and this little 14-year-old would just beat my ass in Smash 4. It was kind of, I was like old already. I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life?
I won a lot of Halo tournaments. I've played in and won a lot of Halo tournaments, specifically Halo 1, because it just came down to pistol sniping. And also we would glue a stopwatch to your controller because it was 90 seconds for any pickup. So you'd like pick up like a overshield of the rocket launcher and press the timer and do a lap. So yeah, I won a lot of Halo tournaments, but also I think tournaments back then were different because there was no online. So like if you have friends to practice with, you smoke all the normies. Why are you putting pictures of Sean eating a pickle in chat?
Don't know what you're talking about.
It's from Emblem. It says, "What's a good movie to start for the Christmas holidays?" I say Die Hard. Wife says Elf. What's yours? We just watched
Krampus.
Elf.
We just
Krampus
watched,
is really good.
Die Hard.
we just watched Home Alone tonight.
I watched Uncle Buck. He's kind of
Uncle Buck is good.
holiday-ish.
Yeah, Uncle Buck's good.
I watched the new Guardians special, the holiday special.
Is it good? I've heard good things.
It's pretty good. It's cute. It's a cute little like 45-minute, special. I liked it. Fun Kevin Bacon stuff in that one.
Callan says, "Glad to see you all this holiday weekend. Pokemon technically wasn't good, but I did really enjoy the design. Not the story, though. Hoping for a Christmas Miracle patch and good DLC, like Sword and Shield. Love you all." Thanks, Callan. Trevor says, "The black and white Super Mario Edition new 3DSs for $100 back in 2016. Still the best Black Friday deal we've seen in a long time."
Bro, I wish I would have gotten in on, because those fucking 3DSs are worth so much money now, and they were just giving them away $99.99.
Yeah, get a couple of those boxed. Keep them.
Yeah.
Zoob says, "I canceled my ROG order in September and just reordered it. $1,050 for an RTX 3060, i7 11700, 1TB SSD. Just need to upgrade the RAM from 16 to 32. Very nice. Yeah, prices around pre-orders and video cards have really started to fall. Apparently, this was a pretty tough time for NVIDIA over the last couple months. So, Justin says, "After DX, I'm hoping for an Explorers of Sky remake. Mystery Dungeon was a niche spin-off with some amazing games and rich story, but Sky was perfect."
Yeah, I'll take a remake of those games, that generation of them.
Ryu Cat says, "Can Game Freak port future Pokemon games to other consoles like they reach their technical limit with Nintendo consoles? Port future games to another." No, game.
Stupid.
Well, I mean, it's partially owned by Nintendo, so it basically all the Pokemon games will just always be on Nintendo's platform. At this point, though, it seems like it's more Game Freak's development than anything else. So
they haven't reached the technical limit when there's a bunch of games that launched on the Switch launch that look way better than Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So what limit have they reached? They still can't take advantage of the
skill
system
limit.
itself. Yeah, they haven't reached the technical limit. Like, you give them a PS5, they just blow it up. It's like giving like a child a Ferrari or something.
they would go to
that.
the PS5, they'd put it there, and Temtem would probably look better still. So, so they got some stuff they got to iron out. Disruptor says, "If there has to be a new Pokemon game every 3 years, then maybe do the COD approach with 2 to 3 studios alternating the mainline games rather than just Game Freak." Well, that's kind of what they're.
What studios?
That's kind of what they're talking about is, what studio? Ilka did Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. Arceus was still Game Freak. That's the thing, though. If, as you're saying, Jordan, if they just focus specifically on the mainline new generation game, if they have studios come in and just literally switch off.
Who made those GameCube ones? Those guys are still around. They'd have to bring in those GameCube dudes, like Gale of Darkness and all that.
Yeah. Who did do that? It's right there. I can't.
It's been 30 years though. All those employees are dead.
That's far away.
Not
It
wrong.
would be Genius Sonority. That is the developer of the Gale of Darkness
Wow.
games.
Household names.
Yeah, household.
Grove Street Games is looking right now, I think.
Oh, there we go. Hey, they redemption after Arc. Okay, give it up to them. That's good job there, Grove Street Games.
Although they only have 22 employees. So.
Might be a problem.
Game Freak's like, no, never mind. They'll fit right in.
Yeah. Future Millionaire says, pulled the trigger on an LG C2 55-inch from Amazon. Very nice. Very nice. Kong says, everyone should play Judgment. It's stellar.
Is Judgment or
PC? On PC? Stellar. Judgment.
It's the best. And if you love it, they keep selling Judgment and Lost Judgment right now in a bundle for really cheap. So if you love any Yakuza game and you want like 200 hours of content, grab those.
Then they follow up saying, would you rather be an NPC in Elden Ring or God of War?
My God. God of War,
Elden
at least
Ring.
you're... God of War, because at least you're alive. Elden Ring, almost everybody's a zombie.
That's fine.
Is it?
Steve says, what's up, everybody? Happy belated Thanksgiving. Side note, let OJ host Newswave.
One of these days.
Just randomly, just OJ just pops up.
I'm just there and I'm like, yo, Newswave
On
with
April
OJ.
Fools. You make each
Yeah.
other's videos for that day.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Adrian says, talk Pokemon. Then
No.
Bryson says, what are your thoughts on Mick Gordon versus Bethesda?
Team Mick Gordon. He brought receipts.
Yeah, lots and lots of them.
He did bring receipts, and Bethesda's like, believe us. Like, that was kind of it. They just moved on. We got stuff. Don't worry. It's like
Their statement was funny because they're like, we're really disappointed he said this. It's like, but is it wrong or?
yeah, I think most people. I would say I believe most people are like, yeah, I'm kind of on Mick Gordon's side right now. You gotta show up with a bit more. I don't know. MG, what do you think about that?
I'm Team Mick on this one, but I will say that Bethesda has about 45 lawyers on retainer, and that's no exaggeration. So that response that they came out with was carefully constructed, very well worded, and I think that probably what's going to come out of this is a settlement that we'll never hear about again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there you go. Then this is from Demolition says, latest fix for Pokemon, maybe February or for Pokemon Home. I hope it doesn't go to February. I'd rather it be sooner rather than later. That feels like a while
Pokemon
away.
Home fan.
Chris says, more Pokemon talk. And then Eric says, I'm just curious about the new Zelda. Nintendo can't mess it up. A delay would suck, but they can't get away with a Pokemon situation.
Very
They're
true.
delaying that game over and over again. That game's not coming out until it's ready. So, and it's next year, May. We'll see.
And Monolith Soft.
I want to ask
is-
the question. Should we
Man,
worry
ask good
about
questions, man. Get those brain cells moving.
Monolith Soft is working. That's what
Others
everyone said.
do
Monolith
things, I gotta
Soft should
do
help
that.
with the game. They are. So there's nothing to worry about, right? Because everyone was
go.
saying Monolith Soft should make Pokemon, and they're the ones that are helping with Tears of the King. So there's nothing to worry about. Monolith Soft is helping to develop.
are on the job?
Always worry.
Yum Yum says, I want Mario Kart Live, but the Wi-Fi sucks. Yeah, if you get too far away, it starts kind of messing up, unfortunately. Dark Type says, that's a 2-part super chat. Please read my membership chat as well. Gotcha, Dark Type. And then Good Kid says, Jordan, thoughts on Bah Humduck, that old Looney Tunes Christmas special?
I don't have many opinions because I
don't know
can't
what
even
it is.
recall that one. I'm
Okay.
not the biggest Looney Tunes fan. Like I said in my recent video, I enjoy it, but I'm not like a diehard Looney Tunes guy.
Okay, I need to figure out where the membership thing is for that, like, to see what their message is. We'll work on that one. Let's talk about this Microsoft Sony stuff, because this is getting weird. Some of the kind of what they're mentioning back and forth. I mean, it was already kind of weird because they basically just keep burying themselves over and over again. And now you got like EA is catching some fire from Sony for some reason. They're saying that Battlefield can't compete, throwing that franchise completely under the bus. Just no issue at all with that one. But we have Sony heavily pushing back against Microsoft when it comes to Call of Duty specifically. They don't care about anything else. It's just Call of Duty. But they said Microsoft claims that Nintendo's differentiated model demonstrates that PlayStation doesn't need Call of Duty to compete effectively, but this reveals Microsoft's true strategy. Microsoft wants PlayStation to become like Nintendo so that it would be a less close and effective competitor to Xbox, saying that Xbox would become the one-stop shop for all best-selling shooter franchises on console, and it would then be free from serious competitive pressure, which they seem to bring up the result of that being Microsoft would raise prices on their consoles and games.
Yeah, their statements are weird.
Well, that one's particularly strange because that's what Sony did in the last 2 years. They raised price on games, they raised price on their consoles. That being more recent, games obviously start the generation. So obviously people are looking at this a bit sideways when they say these kinds of things. But is this statement that Microsoft is trying to turn strategies to make PlayStation like Nintendo, is that an insult to Nintendo, or is that them praising Nintendo existing on their own? I'm not really sure how to read that statement from Sony.
I took that as, because I made a video yesterday about that statement and a lot of their statements. I think that Sony and Microsoft, because I read their 70 pages of court documents, they're both trying to appear small and weak. So they're saying a lot of weird stuff. Sony is trying to say that if Activision gets bought, then Sony's just going to instantly die. And Microsoft is trying to act like they're small and weak. So they released a statement saying, our games suck. Like if you actually go to page 59, they literally said, look at all these award-winning PlayStation games. How do we compete with that? Call of Duty. So I think a lot of their statements, even hyping up Nintendo, are just so out of the blue, they don't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, it's basically lawyers talking back and forth with bullet points that they're given in information, so it doesn't seem to line up with anything we already know in gaming. So the idea of them turning PlayStation into Nintendo, the only way I can read that is they want PlayStation to do their own blue ocean strategy, but I mean, Microsoft's making games that would directly compete with what PlayStation's doing anyway. I don't know. That whole thing just sounds weird. But the biggest thing that's really going around now is that it seems the FTC might actually work to block the Activision deal, at least based on reports from Politico and apparently other sources, that there's starting to be some rumblings that the FTC is not exactly going to go along with this as maybe as easily as Microsoft was hoping. I mean, it wasn't going to be easy in the first place, but maybe some aggression from the FTC over this whole thing. So there's a few things I'm curious about here. One, is this something that could potentially throw a wrench in Microsoft's plans that could push this out beyond their projected closing date, the latest being June 2023? And two, let's say worst case scenario, it gets blocked. What exactly does that mean for gaming and Activision in general?
I think, because this is what I said at the end of my video, I do have a feeling this might get blocked. If you read a lot of the stuff, it's not that FTC thinks this will destroy gaming. It sounds like the FTC thinks that Microsoft in general is just growing too fast and they want to maybe block this deal to be the slap on the wrist. And if that happens, I think Microsoft is going to go on a buying spree. I think they're going to buy somebody like Capcom or something and be like, all right, we can't have Call of Duty. Do we want exclusive Resident Evil and exclusive Devil May Cry and something? I don't know. I think they're going to make multiple $22 billion purchases instead of one $70 billion purchase.
Is that the belief right now? Let's say it happens, it gets blocked. Microsoft just literally goes crazy and starts writing checks for smaller studios than Activision.
I think I agree with Max. Honestly, I think that's something that Microsoft would do.
You think they would just get aggressive and just say, you know what,
I mean,
Capcom's ours now?
Capcom, Square Enix, Platinum. I mean, the choice is yours.
Well, the thing's interesting is there was so much talk that Capcom was almost bought by Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
So Capcom
almost bought everyone. Like Spawncast was almost bought, right? Their deal for that. Microsoft. There's rumors about Microsoft buying everything.
Yeah. The Capcom ones seem to be more substantial than like the others, which is interesting. That was before Monster Hunter World came out, so I assume Capcom's worth a lot more now than they were before Monster Hunter in a pre Monster Hunter World.
It's worth a lot. Resident Evil. Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, man, they've got a lot. Yeah. Street Fighter's back. Street Fighter's back now. Street Fighter's just worth a lot, just in general. Even if Street Fighter 5, wasn't very great, the new one's gonna sell a ton. They've got Capcom's worth a lot. They're worth quite a bit. And then you also have to navigate Japan though. that is also like they have their own built-in government like stepping in if they feel like, especially a foreign business, an American business coming in, there's already laws and stuff set in place. So the resistance that they're seeing right now, and you might see some of that too if they started going into Japan and start doing stuff, because you can't just waltz in there and just start buying things. Like people, I know people like to think that you can. Twitter will tell you that, but you can't when it comes to that type of stuff. So that would get resistance, and there'd be a lot of stuff there too. Hell, I think Sony might even say something there as well. Like, wait a minute, Monster Hunter? No. Resident Evil? No. Sony might even step in there too. FTC might step in with that one as well, man. Like, well, you can't have all that too.
What were you saying, Nate?
The thing with this deal is if it gets blocked, which is still a huge if, the Politico report was really just citing sources that aren't directly related to the FTC. So it's not as though they had an inside report. They were very loosely saying it's likely, which essentially boiled down to nothing. But in this case, if the deal's blocked, Microsoft is going to have a lot of cash that they're looking to spend. And they have one of two options. They can look at smaller companies and say, we'll just buy up a whole bunch of indie, low-tier third-party publishers and developers. And those type of deals aren't going to get scrutinized the same way as this Activision deal. So they're going to be quicker to process. They're going to get approved a lot faster. Or they can look at what Sony's been doing and say, you don't like the fact that we want Call of Duty, but you have no problems going to Square Enix, Capcom, Konami, and signing 18-month, 24-month timed exclusives. We're going to do the exact same thing. And if you go to Square Enix and you want Final Fantasy 17 to be exclusive to your platform for 2 years, we'll come in with a much bigger bag and we'll say, we want an exclusive for 2 years. And now it's going to come down to Square saying, do we side with loyalty and stick with Sony? Or do we take the money and go with Microsoft? But Microsoft may now explore that avenue if this deal is blocked. Sony is playing a dangerous game here. They're provoking Microsoft in a way they may not be fully aware of. And I wouldn't want to really poke the bear in this case. Because if Microsoft wants to be petty, just as this is hyperbole, this is a very extreme take, the deal's blocked. Microsoft goes right to Activision and says, we only want to buy Call of Duty, along with Infinity Ward. What grounds will Sony have to block that sole deal?
That's what you're saying.
Just one game. Or what's going to stop Microsoft from saying, we want a 10-year exclusive right to Call of Duty? Activision takes the deal. Sony, what's Sony's rebuttal? You can't take timed exclusives? Well, you do it all the time, Sony. I thought this was fair game. I thought this is how the industry worked. The deal, for probably ease of the whole industry, should go through. There's really nothing here that's going to make Microsoft some sort of juggernaut. And you've already had Phil Spencer come out and say, we offered Sony 10 more years of Call of Duty beyond their exclusive agreement, which expires in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
They would still have the game into mid-2030. That's 2035. It's a long time from now. And then a new deal can be addressed and negotiated. Sony just does not like the idea that they may potentially lose a game that they right now have the marketing deal on that drives a lot of PlayStation Plus subscriptions. And that scares them that in 12 years, 13 years, maybe it won't be there for them anymore. But who's to say Call of Duty is going to be a juggernaut in 2034?
Yeah, but you figure Sony would at least be able to come up with something by 2034 to at least fill that space on their console.
Well,
Like, it's incredible to me that they're like, we can't do it even if we had 10 years of time.
Yes, and you nailed it. That's a specific thing. An official legal Sony statement is we cannot make a shooter as good as Call of Duty. And it's weird they said that because there's freaking Bungie right there. They just bought Bungie. It's like the guys who invented Halo are right there making a good game. I don't know. Or they still own SOCOM. I don't know. Just crazy.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand why, like, Sony, they've done so many things, like Nate was saying, when it comes to exclusivity, when it comes to buying things. And then now when someone tries to compete, it's a problem because they're not going to get most of the money. But I mean, obviously Call of Duty makes way more money than a lot of these other games like that we're talking about here. But I don't know, man. I wish they just let the deal go through, because there's a lot of silliness coming out of this. You know, Max, I saw your video. I've seen some stuff online about it. There's a lot of really silly stuff. You know, like, oh, they want us to be Nintendo. Like, they're just being stupid at this point. I know they're trying to argue their own points, but goodness gracious, man, like, what? You know?
Yeah, at the end of it,
you don't have resistance, as if you don't have all these other games that you could do, as if you can't make, as if you didn't just buy Bungie. Like you just bought Bungie. They make Destiny. Like, that's not a slouch. You know, like, come on. Like,
and that's the thing, is that, like, you have the rumors out there right now that Bungie is making a new Marathon.
Yeah.
So that's very likely to stay Sony and PC exclusive. Very unlikely it's going to go to Xbox. Now they're not going to announce that detail now, because Microsoft can use that against them in these court proceedings. But Microsoft is still out there saying, we're going to treat Call of Duty like Minecraft. We want it on as many platforms as we can put the game on. And Sony is still continuing this narrative of they're taking it away from us. Microsoft's staying there, putting it on their plate, saying, we're serving you the game. They won't feed us, but we are. But they won't let us eat. We're giving you the utensils. Eat the fucking game. No, they won't give it to us. This narrative is just ridiculous.
They don't want it on
Sony is their own
Game
worst
Pass,
enemy
mate.
in this case.
They don't want it on Game Pass. That's the key thing here.
That's the thing. Sony has also put in contracts with games. You can't put that game on Game Pass. They have blocked third-party games from going to a service that Microsoft would pay the publisher money to put the game on the service. So Sony's going out of their way to prevent certain releases on other platforms. But when it comes time to hit them, it's whoa. This is way too far.
Based M&Ms.
Hypocrisy going on here.
That's what they're asking.
Bro,
Honestly,
that reminds me of that bully. I said this. Y'all ever had that bully at school that sits there, likes to beat people up, say whatever he wants, and then for years, and then you get a little bit bigger, and the minute he does something to you, you kick him in the mouth, and he runs and tells the yard aide. I've had that happen to me. Somebody
sounds like
my
a
ass for 2 to 3 years, and then I finally know some martial arts, learn some kung fu, kick him in the face. Then all of a sudden he want to go cry. I didn't say nothing the whole years. Now you got something to say. That's kind of how I feel Sony is right now.
To be fair, you kicked him in the face.
He deserves it.
I go for the shins first.
He's been pushing me around, bullying me for 3 years. Yeah, you're damn right. I freaking sweet chin music him dead in the face.
I've always been
but black, and I kicked him. Yeah, damn right I did, and he deserved every bit of it.
I was a little bitch the whole. I had to have my pack of nerds that would like throw Magic the Gathering cards. I was so tiny in high school.
I even told my mom, I said, Mom, I sweet chin music him. My mom said, what is sweet chin music? And I showed her when Shawn Michaels was on. And she's like, oh, she said, good job. I was like, good. He's messing with me. He's causing me depression. This is what Sony's doing. They're out here bullying people around, always buying stuff, Final Fantasy, all these different things. And then when it comes time, keeping games off of Game Pass? What? Come on, man. That's so fraudulent. I don't know, man. I just find that as weak.
I think, and this is my own speculation, I do kind of think it's funny that Sony for the last 10 years, about 10 years now, has been buying marketing contracts. You can only say like best on PlayStation in the commercial, and then they bought exclusivity where the company is still completely third party, but the game only exists on PlayStation and PC. And Microsoft is finally like, we'll just buy the whole studio. And they're like, you're not playing fair. It's like, you've been doing this for 10 years and it worked. Look how ahead you are.
No, so is Jim Ryan the one who makes decisions for what's going on with this kind of stuff?
No.
Okay.
He's the figurehead. He types the stuff. Well, he puts his name. They put his name on stuff. I don't think he types it up or anything. But it's it's going to be a while before this deal goes through. It might actually go past that June 2023 expected time to close. So
I always said this was going to be a bumpy road at the start. I mean, I remember I got like criticized for saying that, Microsoft has a history of running companies into the ground. And I think there's a lot of people that are very concerned about this deal and they're doing their due diligence on it. And I think the people that are opposing this deal outside of Sony have every right to do so. Microsoft has had that history. They've had antitrust issues in the past. They bought companies like Skype and Mixer, LinkedIn, all those things.
Hey, Mixer's doing well. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, the history of this stuff isn't great. And I think, this deal was never going to be smooth sailing. And I think it's going to take a little long. I do think it's going to go through, but there will be concessions. And whether that is Call of Duty is out of the conversation, I don't know. Maybe they just have to hand Call of Duty back for this deal to go through. It's possible, right? But I mean, the other thing is they may ask for Call of Duty in perpetuity, But I also think that maybe that's not going to be enough for Sony as well, because I think ultimately they want to block Call of Duty on Game Pass on day one. I think that's the key thing that they're trying to stop.
I saw that the Activision, one of the Activision higher ups, had said they're going to fight really hard, basically, to make sure this deal goes through. And it made me think, what happens to Activision if this deal does not go through?
The company folds within 8 months.
Yeah.
How bad will this hurt them? He said, you think the company folds in less than a year?
Yes, because I, as an investor, now have no faith in the company. They were going to buy you at your highest. The deal didn't go through. Why am I, as an investor, going to stay invested in the company? I'm never getting a deal that good again. It's over.
That's a good point.
Activision's already come out saying, even though we make a lot of money on Call of Duty, the way the costs continue to inflate each release, this is not sustainable for the long term. They're aware that this ship is temporary, that it is sinking, and they're just kind of gliding right now. But the investors will pull out their money if the deal dies, and Activision is probably going to shutter within 12 months.
Wow.
So then what happens? Are they going to sell off like what we've seen with Warner Brothers and stuff? We're going to sell off studio and IP.
Yeah. So then Microsoft come in and buy them anyway.
We'll see. I mean, that would be an interesting case if it is blocked and all of a sudden they're selling these things bit by bit. You're going to have a bidding war for Call of Duty and Infinity Ward come down to Microsoft and Sony again.
Yeah, but who's going to win that?
You figure it'd be Microsoft.
Microsoft's to be like, we're just going to drop 10 billion on Call of Duty. What now? Basically, is what they're going to do. So,
I'm kind of interested because this is also what I said at the end of my video yesterday, which is that I'm kind of curious what happens to the Blizzard side, because I'm a huge fan of Diablo and World of Warcraft. So I'm kind of curious when the company starts splintering, what if they don't keep Blizzard as a big chunk, and what if they just sell StarCraft to the Age of Empires people and sell World of Warcraft to NetEase or something? Like, I think that's what's going to happen, is they're just going to start breaking it off into billion-dollar chunks. They're going to get that 70 billion somehow.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of workforce there. Certainly knows what they're doing, but a lot of intellectual properties. Wow, that'd be massive. That would be a bigger shift in gaming than if Microsoft bought them, if they had to dissolve. That'd be huge. So in that case, I hope the deal goes through. So, but we'll I guess we'll see. Let me go over here. I did find the here we go. The Dark Type message for the membership. Shout out Dark Type saying, "Hello Spawncast, just wanted to mention I have finally gotten my first ever Xbox console for Black Friday, that being the Xbox Series S. I'm so excited to say play it." Okay, good.
Fucking play it? Is that what he said?
I think it just says 2 and it stops right there.
Well, he said the rest is. He said the rest is a super chat. He said it's a 2-part.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, that's right. Yep, they asked about the single player multiplayer games. All right, good.
I thought he was excited. He was so excited that he stopped typing and he went to go play it. Like that's
hey, there we go.
That's a real gamer.
Hey, there's a lot of stuff to check out there on Game Pass. Your first Xbox goes all the way back to the original Xbox on there. Even check out Fable and all that good stuff. So let me see. We have some super chats to finish up. Z asked, "What's your game of the year?"
Probably Elden Ring. I do think God of War is one of the best stories I've ever experienced. But man, it's Elden Ring's universe is so good.
Trevor.
I will make my decision in a week.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet.
Next week, I will have the final. The verdict will be in next week. Yes. Just the beginning of December.
After we beat Callisto?
I thought about that. I'm like, can I wait? Can I wait till... I guess I can, because the Game Awards is still 8th. Can I do that? Well, I mean, it's the Game Awards panel, but...
Fuck the Game Awards.
Of course you can.
Well, we're picking
Yeah,
between
they-
what the.
They don't set the timeline. If the game
Yeah.
if game comes out before the end of the year, it should be eligible.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to have a game of the year outside of those dudes that just randomly pick. We don't even know how they pick what they're doing.
Well, I mean, picking from what their nominees are, which one's going to win.
Screw their nominees. You can
but-
pick your own game of the year, John.
That's true. We do have plenty of time. Need for Speed Unbound's out next week. You never know.
Pick Sifu for best fighting game.
True.
There we go. There we go.
I'm playing Dead Cells right now. You know what? This is my game of the year.
Michael says, it has been a while. I just got here. It is so great to be back. I can't believe I finally made it back. Thanks for everything you do. Sean, John, OJ, Max, Nate, Jordan, Evan, and MVG. Shout out to Michael.
Thank you.
I'm going to do the hand heart just for you, Michael.
Chris says, it's time to get rid of Jim Ryan. That's the problem.
It does kind of seem like it.
It sucks.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna fix. I don't know if that's gonna fix.
He's not.
everything.
He's not helping things.
Yeah, exactly. It can't get worse.
I mean, it probably can. But
Oh, yeah, true. Okay, never- I redact that statement. Someone's going to clip that.
Clip it.
he,
2 years from now.
It can't get worse. And then it's like Sony releases fart controller. I don't know.
the problem is he doesn't come off at all as a gamer, even though he tries to fake it sometime, and you can see him with he has that headset on. He just looks so uncomfortable being there.
He's always like, hello, it is I, the video games.
Dude, he just does not want to be there, and his when he holds the controller, it looks awkward. He's the numbers guy, right? That's kind of it. So maybe it was just easier to I guess to relate to like Shuhei and all of them when they were more front and center or Leighton or any of them. So I mean, right?
Yeah. Well, it's also some of those other people had a more tenured vibe. Like, don't y'all agree? Some of the older PlayStation, like Sean Layden and stuff, not only did they seem like gamers, but they'd been there a while. Like Jim Ryan kind of feels like he just fucking walked in and was like, "Hey, let's jack up the price of the PS5."
He's been there for so long, though.
I know, but I don't know. He feels like a newbie. Even though
Yeah, I
he's
get what you're saying. He's just more hard edge about it. You know, he's just like, the price is up.
He's a numbers
it.
guy.
That's it,
He's,
yeah.
he's a business guy. He's a numbers guy. Layden was as well, but Layden also had the developer kind of side to him. He loved some of the creative studios that they were doing cool things like Vib Ribbon and stuff like that. You know, Ryan is just a numbers man. That's all.
10 asks, Sonic Origins 50% off worth it or wait for physical?
Wait, Origins?
50% off.
Well, Origins isn't getting a physical.
Oh, there you go.
My knowledge.
I mean, half off. Might be time to make
It's
a
not
move.
great though.
Yeah, that's the only issue. There's a lot of problems with it.
Grab Frontiers, baby.
Michael says, is there an after party again tonight? Please, who is going to be there? Jordan, are you going to be there? Actually, I can go over to Sean here, who can tell us.
Yeah, we'll run that after
What the
show
deal
for a
is?
little bit. I'll drop the channel link in there now. Make sure you subscribe. I go live a couple times a week. I actually did 2 streams besides this one this week, which is what
You had to
I
hide
intend to
twice?
do. No, just Friday.
Oh, okay.
The other one was just a Tuesday stream.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, come
okay.
through, hang out. We'll be
Okay.
talking some bullshit for a little bit.
All right, that'll work. And I did see.
Damn,
this is
2
from
accounts got in here at once.
Double
They
bots.
waited till you promoted the after show.
John over on the super chat. John says, "Please send me a link to the Discord. Hashtag Patreon member."
Not how that works. If you are a Patreon member, you just have to make sure your account's linked to your Discord account, and you'll just be in the server.
Oh, okay, cool, easy enough. So you just link it to the Patreon account, and you'll just be in the Discord server. That's it.
I think there's a sticky post on our Patreon that tells you how to do that.
Okay, easy. All right, easy enough. Good. And let me go around here. We've got Sean, of course, for the after show. Let me go over to OJ, Player Essence. Where can everyone find you?
Yeah, find me right here on YouTube. Got a cool video talking about Pokemon, Scarlet and Violet, patch stuff that could potentially come out, detailing more of what they've done with previous games. So if you want to check that out, also got controller stuff that I'm doing next week and some other bigger videos. So if you like that, and I stream daily. So if you like all that, like talk about RPGs, Nintendo, and stuff like that, check out the channel. Also run the pre-show, Spawncast pre-shows. So yeah, there as well.
Awesome. Let me go over to MVG. Where can everyone find you, dude?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. You can find me on Twitter at Modern Vintage G and YouTube Modern Vintage Gamer. I have 2 videos coming out next week, so check out the channel.
Ooh,
Nate
2
and I
videos.
will probably do an episode. Nate, we're doing an episode, I'm thinking.
Yes.
Yeah, so check out Nate the Hate as well.
All right, Nate, why don't you tell them where they can find you too, since he's segued into you.
As you can find me on
Find me
YouTube
on
at
Nate
Nate
the
the Hate and on Twitter at Nate the Hate, followed by the number 2. As MVG said, we will have a new episode next week. We are also exploring the idea of doing a new series of topics on the channel, something I will be discussing with MVG in the very near future. So that's something to look forward to. It may launch in December. We may hold it till January. That's something that I am still working on the specifics of.
All right. Go over here to Jordan Fringe. Where can I find you?
You can find me either Jordan Fringe or Jordan Fringe Gaming on YouTube. I want to say thank you for 425,000 subscribers. I'm very grateful for checking out the content. And by the time we hit Spawncast next week, Fringe Miss will have started. Which, last year I did Fringe Miss, it means that from December 1st to the 25th, I will have 25 videos every single day. 25 videos in total, a video every single day.
Wow.
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous. So yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for all the support, and hopefully I can make it through another Fringe Miss.
All right, very good. Then let me go over to Max.
YouTube.com/Dreamcast Guy. I have 2 videos coming out this next week. I'm going to be reviewing, or at least trying to check out Need for Speed Unbound. And then I do have a deep dive review for Callisto Protocol coming out. So holy heck, it's going to be nightmare-inducing good time.
Okay, and Evan.
You can find me on Twitter at Kimmerix Project. If I'm doing anything, I think this week we're going to be doing hopefully streams of the shirt design, trying to finish that up. Maybe. And I guess hopefully I'll be doing some stuff for my YouTube channel. Not sure. I'm working with some buddies on some things coming up in the next couple of months. So that might be fun.
Okay. All right. That's going to do it for the Spawncast. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We're back here next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Actually, we'll be able to talk about Callisto, Need for Speed, all kinds of stuff happening. So it should be a lot of fun. We'll catch you guys then.